Beyond the stone gate lay a world steeped in total darkness, an abyss so deep that it hinted at hidden threats and stirred a sense of unease. Lin Dong peered into the black void, then exchanged a glance with Yin beside him, their brows furrowed, both sensing something amiss in this shadowy expanse. "Let's move," Yin murmured softly before he ventured forward. Lin Dong promptly followed, knowing that turning back wasn't an option despite the foreboding atmosphere. As they advanced into the darkness, aimlessly weaving through the murky realm, a faint glow emanated from their bodies, dispelling the chilling shadows around them. Click. After moving a short distance, Yin came to an abrupt halt. He surveyed the seemingly boundless darkness with a stern gaze, his expression turning sharp. "This trick again? After all these years, has nothing changed with you?" Yan's cold voice reverberated through the dark domain. Immediately following his declaration, a brilliant and gentle white light burst forth from him, spreading across the world and causing the dark as if melted by the sun. With the darkness retreating, Lin Dong's gaze fell downward, and his pupils contracted sharply. "This is?" As the darkness receded, a peculiar sight was unveiled. A viscous black ocean filled the view, emanating an unsettlingly wicked aura. Massive stone pillars rose from the Black Sea, each crowned with a uniquely shaped divine relic. Yet, these relics were entirely black and coated in a thick, dripping liquid that fed back into the inky waters below in a scene that was both eerie and surreal. Lin Dong's eyes narrowed on the ominous Black Sea. He could feel the overwhelming malevolence emanating from it, an evil presence that seemed beyond the capacity of a single alien demon king. "What is this? Where is Xintian Palace?" Lin Dong whispered. Yan's expression grew grave. He took a deep breath before pointing toward the center of the stone pillars. Following Yan's direction, Lin Dong observed that at the base of the pillars, chains of black extended outward. His gaze traced the chains to the heart of the Black Sea, where he saw a faint light silhouette, no larger than an infant, ensnared by black chains and subjected to a continuous assault by dark energies. "Is that Xintian Palace's artifact spirit?" Lin Dong's eyes focused on the light figure that seemed infant-like, with drooping brows transitioning from pure white to being sullied by blackness. How did it come to this? Lin Dong's expression darkened. The sight suggested that even Xintian Palace was not immune to the influence of the alien demon aura. "This is the 10,000 Demons Corrosion Array, a formidable formation conjured with the aura of countless demons, exceedingly difficult to handle," Yin explained slowly. 10,000 Demons Corrosion Array? Lin Dong's brows furrowed as he looked down. Where did all these aliens come from? Wait. He abruptly paused, locking his eyes on the darkened divine relics atop the stone pillars. Is it them? These were once divine relics that slaughtered alien demons, Yin said softly. But in doing so, they too absorbed some of the alien demon aura. Xintian Palace sought to purify these relics, unaware that the combined auras would swell so immensely. Moreover, it forgot that, while other relics were contaminated by killing demons, it also carried that aura itself. Xintian Palace, noted for its sealing power, had once sealed an alien demon king. Though these kings were eventually eradicated by the seal's erosion, remnants of their consciousness lingered. You've dealt with alien demons before. You know how tenacious and grotesquely vital their life force is? Lin Dong nodded gravely. Even Qingji, wielding the might of the reincarnation stage, couldn't completely annihilate the king of Nether Heaven with the extermination king disc, a testament to their fearsome resilience. You mean, as Xintian Palace tried to cleanse the contaminated relics, the latent consciousness of the alien demon king within it also began to interfere, culminating in the current chaos? Yin nodded, letting out a sigh. Those tainted relics could have been discarded and left to decay over time. Yet this stubborn spirit couldn't bear to part with them. A trace of surprise flitted through Lin Dong's eyes at the anthropomorphic sentiment exhibited by Xintian Palace. Though not as sentient as Yin, it possessed significant awareness. What do we do now? Naturally, we help purify the alien demon aura, Yin replied coolly, his sharp eyes fixated on the black sea below before he snorted. These demons, they're troublesome even in death. With a thunderous force, the final shout erupted from Yan's mouth like a sudden lightning strike. His massive hand clenched, gathering resplendent white light in his palm, which then transformed into a beam of white energy, striking directly into the dark ocean below. Boom! The white light plunged into the black sea, gently releasing rings of brilliance, while the sticky alien demon aura within dissipated at an astonishing speed. Roar! The black ocean churned violently, and moments later, an enraged roar echoed forth. Black waves surged, and the dark liquid coalesced into a massive demonic shadow. Within that shadow, a pair of sinister eyes glared at the sky, and the furious voice rang out, "Ancestral stone? It's you, you bastard." The Ancestral stone had slaughtered countless alien demons during the ancient celestial war. It wasn't surprising that this entity, possessing some awareness, recognized the Ancestral stone. A wretched thing formed from innumerable alien demons. What's the point of you still being alive? Yin gazed coldly at the shadow below, flicking his finger to release another beam of white light. The light cut through the shadow, causing it to scream in agony before hurriedly submerging into the demonic sea, its roars incessant. "Ancestral stone, how dare you act? Are you not afraid I'll kill this one?" Yin chuckled coldly and then looked toward a luminous infant figure bound by black chains, calling out, "Shintian Palace, how long do you intend to sustain this turtle breath, spirit-sealing state?" As Yin shouted, Lin Dong saw the infant figure tremble slightly. Its tightly shut eyes slowly opened, initially filled with confusion. Upon seeing Yin, it let out a sigh of relief. "I never expected the one I'd await would be you." The voice of the Shintian Palace spirit was quite youthful, yet beneath that youthfulness lay an air of ancientness, a peculiar combination that sounded quite strange. "Really? You managed to get yourself into this state?" Yin shook his head helplessly before saying, "We're about to make a move now. You can protect yourself, right?" The Shintian Palace spirit stretched lazily, glancing at the shadow beneath the black sea. "Go ahead. If this creature could do anything to me, it wouldn't have dragged on for so many years. However, to break this great array, you must eradicate the demonic aura within those divine relics from the roots. I'll handle that demonic shadow." Yin nodded, then turned to Lin Dong. "I'll leave the task of purging the demonic aura from those divine relics to you." Lin Dong smiled, concentrating his mind. Brilliant lightning and dark energy surged from within him, filling the sky as two ancestral talismans manifested simultaneously. The Thunder Ancestral Talisman and the Devouring Ancestral Talisman? The Shintian Palace spirit was momentarily stunned by this display, then glanced peculiarly at Lin Dong. This young man possessed both ancestral talismans. What a nostalgic sight. "Let's do this," Yin bellowed, and a beam of white light shot from Lin Dong's body, transforming into an ancient talisman stone that rapidly expanded. In this moment, Lin Dong noticed that the stone's surface seemed to bear 8 ancient patterns, some of which felt eerily familiar to him. The 8 great ancestral talismans? Lin Dong's heart skipped a beat. The fluctuations from these ancient patterns were almost identical to the ancestral talismans, implying that the ancestral stone also held the power of the 8 talismans, a weakened version still verging on the terrifying. After all, even Lin Dong only wielded the power of 2 ancestral talismans. Now, he finally understood why the ancestral stone ranked second on the ancient divine relic ranking, because it possessed the diluted power of all 8. What terror lies in the one ranked first? Lin Dong's mouth twitched in apprehension. The ancestral stone was terrifying enough, and he could hardly imagine what the most supreme ancient relic was capable of. Boom! As Lin Dong was momentarily dazed, Yin merged with the ancestral stone, transforming into a dazzling white light. He streaked down toward the demonic sea like lightning, causing mighty waves and stunning ripples to spread out. "I must act as well." Seeing this, Lin Dong quickly refocused. Clasping his hands, he summoned thunderous lightning from above, while black whirlpools frenziedly formed in the sky. Boom! Lin Dong's hand seals shifted, halting abruptly. The heavens roared with a chorus of thunder and swirling black vortices, streaking earthward with awe-inspiring intensity. The full power of the two ancestral talismans unfurled at this moment. Vast lightning and swirling darkness crashed onto the enchanted relics suspended atop the stone pillars. The alien demon aura is a rather troublesome energy, difficult to eradicate with ordinary primordial energy. However, the ancestral talisman restrains it significantly. As lightning entwined the demonized relic, a sharp whistling sound pierced the air. Puffs of white smoke continuously rose from the relic, and the dense black aura gradually dissipated. Boom! Within the Chaos Demon Sea, Yin transformed into a brilliant white light and charged into battle against the demonic shadow, a fusion of many remnants of alien demon consciousness. The clash was terrifyingly intense. Although the ancestral stone wasn't fully restored, its purification effect on the alien demon persisted. Each time the intense alien demon aura met the soft white glow, it quickly retreated, and the demonic shadow roared in anger. After trapping this hall for so many years, it's time for you to be vanquished. The spirit of Xintian Palace sneered at the retreating shadow under Yan's assault and glanced at Lin Dong, who wielded the power of two ancestral talismans. Young man, the demonic shadow draws strength from those demonized relics. Eliminate the aura, and it will lose control over them. All right. Lin Dong nodded as primordial and spiritual energy surged forth. The powers of the ancestral talismans were pushed to their limits, eroding the demonized relics on the stone pillars until their dark glow faded, revealing their ancient essence. Roar! Sensing the weakening power, the demonic shadow bellowed, tightening the black chains around the Xintian Palace spirit like vicious serpents, desperate to strike. You really think this hall is easy prey? Sneered the Xintian Palace, its tiny hands forming an intricate seal. A faint multicolored light radiated from its body, rapidly dispelling the black aura around its brow. Whoosh! The Xintian Palace's fingers spread, releasing 10 multicolored beams that shattered the chains formed by alien demon aura. With the chains dissipated, the Xintian Palace soared into the sky. Eliminate! Lin Dong's eyes radiated with raging lightning and black light. As the terrifying waves of power crashed upon the formation, the demonized relics stiffened, their aura solidifying and flaking off like blackened skin. With the aura eradicated, the relics erupted with an astonishingly sharp energy, resonating through the air as even space seemed to tremble. Hanging mid-air, the Xintian Palace waved, and countless relics broke free of the stone pillars, assembling around it like a divine ocean. This time, let's wipe out these filthy creatures completely. The Xintian Palace's icy gaze shifted, fingers pointing skyward. The relics howled out, cascading down with terrifying momentum. Bang! 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 Above the Black Sea, stone pillars exploded, and the vast Black Sea was rapidly dissolved. The demonic shadow, already beaten back by Yin, screamed in agony, its form fading rapidly, as if gravely wounded. Faced with the combined attack of the 2nd and 10th ranked in the ancient divine relic ranking, along with Lin Dong possessing 2 ancestral talismans, the demonic shadow stood no chance. Erasing me won't be that easy, it roared, sensing danger. It shrank rapidly, turning into a condensed black light, darting towards Lin Dong. Of the trio, Lin Dong seemed the easiest to possess. Always alert, Lin Dong smirked at the shadow's approach, flicking his sleeve. A shield of dazzling lightning and shadow enveloped him. Crash! This demonic shadow is not truly an alien demon. It is merely a residual consciousness formed by many alien demons converging. If it invades your body, it could indeed be extremely troublesome. However, it faces Lin Dong, who is protected by 2 ancestral talismans, rendering the fearsome erosion of the alien demons ineffective against him. Swoosh! The demonic shadow was blown back, and before it could react, a torrent formed from countless divine relics surged forth, hitting it hard. A deep sound reverberated as the demonic shadow's body crumbled substantially. Purifying divine seal. Yan's cold shout rang out suddenly, and gentle white light gathered in the sky, forming a massive white handprint. The handprint, like a giant's palm, slammed directly onto the demonic shadow's body. The white light spread, and the demonic shadow's body dissipated rapidly with piercing screams echoing through the space. Eventually, the divine seal descended completely, crushing the black shadow into nothingness. The screams ceased abruptly, and the evil demonic aura that filled the space vanished completely. Yin emerged from the white light, standing atop the ancestral stone. His sharp gaze scanned the area, and once he was sure there was no remaining alien demon consciousness escaping, the intensity in his eyes gradually subsided. You really brought this trouble upon yourself? If you had just discarded those polluted divine relics, this problem wouldn't have arisen, Yin remarked, looking at the Shintian Palace spirit with a frown. If discarded, ordinary humans might obtain them and become corrupted by the demonic aura, which would also be hazardous. The Shintian Palace spirit responded somewhat helplessly, then smiled, his long white eyebrows twitching. I didn't expect you to help out. Last I knew, you seemed beyond recovery from those injuries. Well, I've been lucky. Yin shook his head, somewhat exasperated. Then he looked at Lin Dong and said, following this kid all these years has gradually begun healing my wounds. But complete recovery from this self-healing is still an unknown time away. Fortunately, I've encountered you, so I'll leave my injuries to you. The Shintian Palace spirit nodded casually. In terms of battle power, he might not match the ancestral stone, but in crafting and healing, he excelled. This young fellow seems unusual, possessing 2 ancestral talismans. Besides the previous master, no one has managed such a feat, remarked the Shintian Palace, eyeing Lin Dong with curiosity. Junior Lin Dong greets Senior Shintian Palace. Lin Dong replied with clasped hands and a smile, showing respect for those who fought in the ancient world war. The Shintian Palace smiled contentedly, enjoying Lin Dong's courteous demeanor. Since we found you, come with us. If you're all right with it, recognize Lin Dong as your master, lest you draw the attention of alien demons. Yan's casual tone made it sound like an ordinary matter rather than having a top-ranked, sought-after divine relic, willingly recognizing a master. Lin Dong was momentarily taken aback by Yan's words, then gazed at the Shintian Palace spirit with apprehension. He understood that relics of such caliber had intelligence on par with humans and were inherently proud. To have them willingly accept a master was no simple task. Yet, under Lin Dong's gaze, the Shintian Palace spirit simply twitched his white eyebrows and smiled. His childlike face lit up with a grin. He glanced over Lin Dong, then said, "All right." Lin Dong was slightly stunned, then felt unsure whether to be pleased or speechless, wondering how subduing such super divine relics had become so straightforward. Don't be too surprised. Your uniqueness is understood only by relics created by our master. And the ancestral stone, being the closest to the master, wouldn't choose just anyone. We were created to battle alien demons. With our master gone, you are now our choice. Knowing Lin Dong's thoughts, the Shintian Palace spirit smiled faintly. Then, he lightly twitched his white eyebrows, and a light imprint emerged from his brow, floating toward Lin Dong. Lin Dong held the radiant seal, feeling momentarily dazed by the words from the Shintian Palace. Then, he smiled as a drop of his essence blood flew out, leaving an imprint on the seal. With this imprint engraved, he immediately sensed a profound connection between himself and the Shintian Palace before him. The palace's mysteries gradually began to unfold for him. Don't get too excited yet, better think about how to overcome the upcoming challenges, murmured a calm voice from Yin, pulling Lin Dong back to reality. He furrowed his brows slightly. Outside the Shintian Palace, 3 demon commanders and many powerful beings from the beast combat domain were still eyeing him eagerly. Divine Relic Mountain Range. Above the ancient hall, a golden halo continued its slow rotation, sending out waves of peculiar energy like surging tides, making everyone eager. At this time, a sea of people filled the area around the ancient hall, both in the sky and on the ground. All eyes were fixed on that golden halo, watching intently for any signs of movement from within. The atmosphere here had turned bizarre since Lin Dong entered earlier. Everyone was well aware of the terrifying quantity of divine relics contained in the divine relic treasury. If these relics were used to forge an army, its power would undoubtedly sweep through the entire beast combat domain. Of course, after countless failures over the years, most had abandoned such ambitious dreams. But today's unprecedented scene was enough to make their hearts tremble. If Lin Dong really emerged, his gains would surely be staggering, igniting envy in countless hearts. In the beast combat domain, strength ruled. If Lin Dong truly obtained such a terrifying haul, escaping wouldn't be easy, despite Thunder Abyss Mountain being one of the 8 demon commander factions. After all, 3 formidable demon commanders lay in wait here. Everyone present knew clearly that if Lin Dong failed to emerge, it was fine. But if he did, he might have to experience the peril of having a precious jade invites trouble. At that time, even Thunder Abyss Mountain might not be able to protect him. On a nearby peak, Little Yin and his companions watched the golden halo with solemn expressions. Little Yin remained indifferent to the surrounding watchful eyes, but Chen Tong and others were tense and wary. They understood what this atmosphere signified. Their gazes occasionally turned towards the 3 peaks where the 3 demon commanders were stationed. At this moment, the heavenly dragon demon commander and his peers sat with half-closed eyes and drooping hands, like meditative monks, seemingly ignoring the whispered discussions around them. Yet, only the keen could detect the faint waves of danger emanating from the trio. Clearly, they were very concerned about Lin Dong's entry into the divine relic treasury. Time flowed slowly amid this peculiar waiting atmosphere. Hours passed in the blink of an eye, and the blazing sun began to set, casting a dark red hue over the vast mountain range. The setting sun looked as red as blood. Buzz. As the earth turned crimson under the sunset's glow, the long, still golden halo finally began to ripple with waves. Swish, swish. In an instant, nearly every gaze in the mountain range turned sharply toward the halo. Some seated powerhouses leaped to their feet, eyes blazing. The 3 heavenly dragon demon commanders also slowly opened their eyes, their gazes sharp and enigmatic. The fluctuations on the golden halo became increasingly intense, and eventually, amidst the chaotic energy, a figure emerged under countless focused stares, landing on the ground. Lin Dong? He's still alive? After all these years, someone finally breached the divine relic treasury. As the figure appeared, the atmosphere in this world exploded. Countless eyes lit up with excitement, filled with curiosity and greed as they looked at him. They knew the divine relic treasury was unimaginably stocked, and Lin Dong's ability to enter and leave safely made it hard to believe he'd leave empty-handed. Compared to painstakingly extracting relics from the divine relic treasury, seizing them from Lin Dong seemed much easier. Lin Dong emerged, raising his head to meet the countless pairs of eyes locked on him. The feeling was akin to being surrounded by wolves, each pair of green eyes epitomizing greed. Little Yan's expression brightened when he saw Lin Dong emerge. He waved his hand grandly and led the strong individuals of Thunder Abyss Mountain to surround Lin Dong protectively. He then looked up, his gaze fierce and watchful of the surroundings. Lin Dong nodded slightly. Although Little Yin hadn't elaborated, Lin Dong could sense the tense atmosphere present. It was evidently stirred up by his presence. The oppressive atmosphere lingered for a moment before Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander stepped forward. Nearby, the other 2 formidable demon commanders showed expressions of curious intrigue. You really are full of surprises. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander fixed his gaze on Lin Dong and let out a small chuckle, a sound that hovered ambiguously between mockery and surprise. Lin Dong responded with a slight smile. What is everyone doing here? The divine relic treasury is still around. Why focus on me? I'm curious about how you managed to enter the divine relic treasury, Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander replied nonchalantly, dismissing Lin Dong's question. Maybe, just lucky, Lin Dong grinned. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander raised an eyebrow at this. The fluctuations within the divine relic treasury have diminished significantly. Ghost Eagle Demon Commander, who had remained silent until now, suddenly spoke in a low tone, his eyes flashing. This revelation caused an immediate uproar. Even Lin Dong's eyes narrowed slightly. These revolution stage powerhouses were indeed no pushovers. Do we have just an empty shell here now? Ghost Eagle Demon Commander tilted his head slightly, casting a keen gaze at Lin Dong, whose expression remained calm and composed. He let out a meaningful smile. Why not test it and find out? Golden Ape Demon Commander suggested calmly. He clenched his fist, and a massive black staff materialized, hurtling through the air before crashing into the ancient hall with explosive force. Boom! The ground shook, and everyone's attention snapped to the destruction. They saw the ancient hall crumble under Golden Ape Demon Commander's strike. Yet, amidst the ruins, there was neither fluctuation nor the shadow of any divine relic. The treasury was utterly devoid of the expected treasures. People stood dumbfounded, their eyes gradually turning red with greed as they directed their gaze at Lin Dong, standing unfazed. The likes of Little Yin and his followers were also momentarily stunned. Chen Tong and others felt their hearts race. Had Lin Dong really emptied the divine relic treasury? Was he trying to drive everyone mad? Heh, this kid wants to pull a fast one? A clever idea, but a bit too naive. Golden Ape Demon Commander chuckled, his eyes fixed on the collapsed treasury. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander slowly withdrew his gaze from the fallen ruins and fixed it on Lin Dong. Lin Dong, hand over the divine relics you obtained from the treasury. Be wise. Those treasures will overwhelm you at Thunder Abyss Mountain. You won't be able to keep those relics, added Ghost Eagle Demon Commander with a chilling smile. Lin Dong narrowed his eyes at the surrounding greedy stares. After a moment of silence, he said, I'm aware of the situation. I propose handing over 80% of the relics to the Blood Dragon Hall, leaving Thunder Abyss Mountain with just 20%. Seems fair, doesn't it? Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander froze momentarily at the suggestion. Around them, the various factions and the two demon commanders exchanged significant looks. But as the word agreed escaped Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's lips, he abruptly stopped, noticing the chilling glances from Ghost Eagle and Golden Ape. Aware of his misstep, his expression darkened. You crafty little devil, thinking you could incite infighting with a mere word? Ghost Eagle, Golden Ape, surely you won't fall for such a trivial trick? He turned to them with a scornful laugh. Haha, of course not. The kid is shrewd, but we'll first seize what's in the treasury, then discuss distribution, said Ghost Eagle Demon Commander, eyes narrowing. Golden Ape Demon Commander nodded in agreement. Boy, hand over everything obediently. Originally, I might have left you some scraps, but seeing how obstinate you are, you won't even keep that 20%, Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander threatened coldly. Lin Dong became the target of countless greedy eyes, all directed at him due to the divine relic treasury. You think you can just take what's ours from Thunder Abyss Mountain? Growled Little Yin, his expression fierce as he saw Lin Dong cornered. Heh, bold words, taunted Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. As they spoke, an overwhelming aura surged out from the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, and to accompany it, the Ghost Eagle Demon Commander and the Golden Ape Demon Commander also unleashed the full force of their revolution stage presence. The three powerful auras descended like dark clouds, making even the heavens and earth tremble. Three revolution stage powerhouses could wipe out Thunder Abyss Mountain with just a wave of their hands. Countless gazes converged on Lin Dong, filled with pity. They knew that in such a predicament, escaping unscathed from Thunder Abyss Mountain was impossible. Even handing over all the divine relics willingly might not save them. Under those watchful eyes, Lin Dong raised his head. His previously calm face gradually turned grim. Unbeknownst to them, they had once again landed in dire straits. Little Yin, are you scared? Lin Dong asked, a fierce determination flashing in his dark eyes, like thunder about to explode. Back in the Eastern Mystery region, we weren't afraid. Why would we be now? Little Yin grinned, his rough face exuding a ferocity even more intense than years ago. In that case, let's fight. Lin Dong smiled, but beneath his young features, a madness crept forth, chilling to the bone. That crazed resolve left countless powerhouses speechless. Facing 3 revolution stage adversaries, did he still refuse to yield? They didn't know that back in the Eastern Mystery region, even when they were as weak as ants, the trio never conceded to seemingly invincible foes. Just like then, today remained the same. A desperate fight, the warrior is made strong. Deep within the Divine Relic mountain range, as countless powerhouses observed Lin Dong with madness barely contained in his eyes, their expressions were filled with amazement. They couldn't fathom where his courage to oppose the 3 revolution stage powerhouses stemmed from. Such a confrontation was like an egg against a rock, courageous but recklessly foolish. Heh, quite an interesting guy, the Ghost Eagle Demon Commander remarked with a faint smile, watching Lin Dong with intrigued eyes. It was probably the first time he'd seen anyone with minor completion of the Death Mystique stage speak like this before 3 Supreme Revolution stage powerhouses. A tough nut, agreed the Golden Ape Demon Commander. If it weren't for the importance of the Divine Relic Treasury, he might even admire Lin Dong's audacity. Always so unaware of his own insignificance, scoffed the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, eyes cold and mocking as he eyed Lin Dong, like a cat toying with a mouse. Reaching this point, you can only blame your terrible luck. Thunder Abyss Mountain had some strength, but if the Blood Dragon Hall truly intended their destruction, they would pay a price. Unfortunately, with the other 2 demon commanders involved, Thunder Abyss Mountain's fate was sealed. In the beast combat domain, if the 3 demon commanders joined forces to obliterate something, there wouldn't be a different outcome. Lin Dong's gaze turned icy. Confronting the immense pressure from the 3 demon commanders, he walked forward steadily, looked at the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, and grinned. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, come out. You've been eager to act, haven't you? I'll make sure you die without regret, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander retorted darkly, his eyes surging with killing intent. Lin Dong wasn't wrong. He had waited long enough. Little Yin, 1 demon commander will be blocked by it. The other is up to you, Lin Dong said, nodding towards Little Yin and gesturing to the devouring heavenly corpse beside him. Yes, I'll join forces with the tiger-devouring army. Little Yin nodded firmly. Without Lin Dong's array of tactics, he needed the tiger-devouring army's strength to bridge the vast gap. Lin Dong nodded, contemplated briefly, then with a wave of his sleeve, sent a streak of black light flying towards Little Yin. What is this? Little Yin caught it, his arms sinking with the weight. His eyes narrowed with determination as he braced himself, casting his gaze upon the object. A massive black hammer, its surface etched with complex and obscure patterns. A sense of heaviness emanated from it, making the surrounding air feel thick and sticky. Little Yan's eyes burned with excitement. Channeling his internal power to the limit, he swung the hammer down. Everyone watched in shock as a gigantic fissure snaked across the ground like a lightning bolt, splitting a distant peak in 2. A fine weapon. Little Yin grinned, the divine hammer's immense weight perfectly matching his robust and fierce nature. Commanders of Thunder Abyss Mountain, should we return home triumphant, there will be rewards. Chun Tong and the others nodded in agreement as they listened, glancing at the formidable black hammer in Little Yan's hands. Such divine relics were far beyond their reach. Even in a lifetime, they couldn't hope to obtain one. But Lin Dong, evidently, had the confidence to make such a statement. Around them, powerful figures narrowed their eyes at the scene, their greed further ignited. It was clear to everyone that the black hammer in Little Yan's grasp was undoubtedly a renowned relic from the ancient divine relic ranking. It seems your harvest has indeed been quite fruitful. The 3 demon commanders, including the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, fixed their heated gaze on Little Yan's black hammer. They recognized a familiar aura emanating from it. It was the same treasure they had once coveted but failed to secure. Want it? Well, let's see if you have what it takes. Lin Dong sneered, his words sharp and cutting. There was no need for pretenses now that the masks were off. This kid is mine, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander said grimly, his intent to kill Lin Dong unabated. As for General Yin, leave him to me, the Golden Ape Demon Commander remarked coolly, eyeing Little Yin. And I'll see what's peculiar about this devouring heavenly corpse puppet, the Ghost Eagle Demon Commander added, his gaze uniquely fixed on the intimidating puppet, which he hadn't encountered before with such potency. The three demon commanders didn't summon their subordinates. Despite knowing it might make things easier, their reputations as the strongest forces in the beast combat domain precede them. The trio's presence was almost overwhelming alone, needing no additional force. Lin Dong's eyes locked onto the smirking heavenly dragon demon commander as he slowly rose, his primordial energy surging to its peak. A dense azure light enveloped him, and there was the subtle sound of a dragon's roar from within. I'll show you how foolish it is to provoke someone at the revolution stage. The heavenly dragon demon commander regarded Lin Dong coldly, raising his hand as black and white energies quickly coalesced at his fingertips. The fusion of life and death energies emanated an astonishing aura, a force nearing the mysteries of reincarnation, profound enough to connect heaven and earth. Roar! Hundreds of azure dragon light patterns suddenly erupted from Lin Dong's body. With a stoic expression, he launched a fierce punch amid the dragon's roar. He knew he had to give his all against a revolution stage powerhouse, even now. Boom! The azure dragon patterns converged like a blue meteor streaking across the sky, its ferocity palpable. Many onlookers felt a sense of gravity at the sheer power, knowing that this level of attack was formidable enough to challenge even those at the perfect completion of the death mystique stage. Do you think I'm the same as the spiritual body from a month ago? Scoffing, the heavenly dragon demon commander wielded the black and white energies, forming a small, black and white scale surrounded by countless serrations, its sharpness seemingly capable of slicing through space itself. Given you retrieved this divine relic for us from the treasury, let me show you the power of a revolution stage expert. Scale of life and death. With a flick, the black and white scale shot out, slicing through the air so swiftly that space tore apart in its wake. It collided with Lin Dong's azure light streak. Sizzle. There wasn't a resounding explosion. Instead, the azure light simply shattered. The tiny black and white scale pierced through overwhelming force, tearing through the azure dragon light with ease, truly demonstrating the terror of a revolution stage powerhouse. With unrelenting speed, the scale darted toward Lin Dong. Clang! Just before impact, a burning red cauldron materialized, withstanding the assault. Yet, the force sent it flying backward, leaving a deep mark upon its surface. Lin Dong stared at the scar on the cauldron, his eyes narrowing with solemnity. Clashing with a fighter of this caliber revealed their true horror. 8 extreme scorching heaven gate. With a sharp command, 8 crimson beams shot from the cauldron, forming 8 red portals in the sky. Energy surged and morphed into a giant volcano, aiming to crush the heavenly dragon demon commander. Boom! Lightning flickered in Lin Dong's hands, summoning the Thunder Emperor's staff as 9 thunder dragons roared out, filling the air with deafening thunderclaps. Against such an opponent, Lin Dong unleashed a myriad of techniques, showcasing prowess that impressed the surrounding powerful figures. Never had they seen a minor completion of the Death Mystique stage fighter exhibit such combat strength. However, in the face of Lin Dong's ferocious assault, the heavenly dragon demon commander merely sneered, remaining completely still. When the onslaught eventually fell upon him, black and white lights coalesced around his body, forming a round, black and white canopy. Boom! Boom! The volcano and thunder dragon crashed violently onto that black and white canopy, but it remained motionless like a rock. The merging of black and white symbolized life and death intertwined, unshakable and unmovable. As the energy fluctuations gradually subsided, everyone looked at the unharmed heavenly dragon demon commander, protected by the black and white canopy, and shook their heads in silence. The gap between the two was indeed too vast. So powerful indeed. Lin Dong observed this scene, letting his hand fall gently, a glimmer of admiration flashing in his dark eyes. The revolution stage was indeed formidable. Just a year ago, it might have felt overwhelming, but now, a strong battle intent surged within him. If you feel despair, just stop struggling. It might be easier for you, the heavenly dragon demon commander said with a cold, bone-chilling smile. Despair? Lin Dong raised his gaze, eyes fixed on the heavenly dragon demon commander. Then, a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his lips. Back in the alien demon city, when he was so weak, he never despaired. How could he now? Aren't you curious about what I got from the divine relic treasury? Lin Dong chuckled, slowly lifting his hand. In his palm, multicolored lights began to gather, and simultaneously, an incredibly terrifying fluctuation spread with those lights. At that moment, it seemed even the primordial energy of this world was suddenly in chaos. Since you want to see, then I'll let you witness it.